All right, so question 3 is saying a shopper pushes a grocery cart 20 meters at constant speed on level ground against a 35 Newton frictional force. It pushes in a direction 25 degrees below the horizontal. A. What is the work done on the cart by friction? B. What is the work done on the cart by the gravitational force? C. What is the work done on the cart? Oh, where am I going? C. What is the work done on the cart by the shopper? D. Find the force the shopper exerts using the energy consideration. E. What is the total work done on the cart? So starting with A to say what is the work done by friction on the cart, we're going to go to our blank page and let's put on a free body diagram here. So this is the cart. It is going on a level ground, which means it's going in that direction for 20 meters, like that. But the force that is applied by the shopper is actually at an angle which is 25 degrees below the horizontal, like that. And remember, there's a force of friction back there. So this is the data that we have. And they said we should find the work done by friction. So I'll put A, work done by friction. So work done by friction. And this is equal to what? This is equal to the force of friction itself multiplied by the distance cos theta, like that. So the cos theta, it is the direction of the frictional force. So let's go here. What is the frictional force? The frictional force, they've told us to say it is equal to 35 Newton. So I'll say my A, work done by friction, work done by friction. This will be equal to the frictional force, which is 35 newtons, multiplied by the distance. What is the distance? It is 20. But if you look at the direction of friction, it's actually opposite to the 20 meters. But it is going in front, but the direction of friction is opposite. So from this direction to where the friction is, you see that the angle there is 180 degrees. And that's what we're going to plug in our formula to say cos 180. And the cos 180 is equal to what? Cos 180 is equal to -1. So I can just plug in my -1 there. And if I do my multiplication there, I'm going to get -700 joules as the work done by friction. So friction is negative. Why? It's because it is opposing the direction of motion. Always, I've already talked about this multiple times to say friction of force is always negative because it's opposing the direction of your motion, as we can see there. So that is the work done by friction on the cart. Question B is saying, what is the work done on the cart by the gravitational force? So what do you think can be the work done on the cart by the gravitational force? Remember, this guy is moving on a level ground. It is not moving in the y-axis. There's no movement in the y-axis. That means displacement in the y-axis is equal to 0. And that means uh, there's no effect there by the force of gravity. Hence, the work done by gravity on this object will actually be equal to 0. The work done by gravity is equal to what? It is equal to the force of gravity multiplied by the what? Multiplied by the distance. But the distance moved in the y-axis is 0. Hence, our force done by gravity on B is equal to 0 joules. I hope that's clear. Very, very much clear. So some would say maybe I should solve it like this. For those who want much clearance, we'll say the force of gravity, or the work done by the gravity is equal to the force of gravity, which is the force of G, multiplied by the distance cos theta. Like that. But if you look at our free body diagram here, the force of gravity is actually acting in that way. And where or what is going to be the theta here? If you look at what we've been given, you're going to find that your theta is equal to what? Your theta is actually equal to this guy, which is here. And it is 90 degrees. And cos 90 is equal to what? Cos 90 is equal to 1. I mean, cos 90 is equal to 0. So cos 90 is equal to 0. That means everything here is 0. And hence, our work done by gravity here is 0 joules. There's no displacement in the y-axis. All right, so question C, work done on the card by the shopper. So work done on the card by the shopper will be equal to what? It will be equal to the force applied by the shopper multiplied by the distance cos theta. Why? It's because if we look at our free body diagram again, here, we're going to see that our force applied, I said this is the force applied, that's what I said. So it is at an angle of 25 degrees with the horizontal. So it is going to be in two axes. There's one in the x-axis and the one in the y-axis. And this one is adjacent to the 25 degrees, so it is going to carry the cosine. So we're going to say this is the applied force, Fa, cos 25 degrees. Whilst this one is the applied force, Fa, sine 25 degrees, like this. So if that is what we have, what are we going to notice? We have to calculate the force applied by the shopper first before we can find the work done uh, or the work he does on the cart itself. So how are we going to find the force applied by the shopper? We have forces in the x-axis. We have this force in the x and the force of friction, which is on the opposite side. That's what our free body diagram is able to tell us. And using Newton's second law, we're going to say that the summation of forces in the x-axis is equal to mass multiplied by acceleration. So let's follow it in that way. So C, going to say the applied force multiplied by the distance, cos theta, which is cos 0 here, and it's just 1. So I'm going to say the force applied. Now, how am I going to calculate the applied force on the card? I'm going to say the summation of forces on the x-axis is equal to what? Is equal to mass multiplied by acceleration. But if you remember very well, they've said this cart is moving at a constant speed. And if it is moving at constant speed, that means our velocity here is equal to 0. And if our velocity here is equal to 0, that means our summation of forces in the x-axis is equal to what? Is equal to 0. And if it is like that, we're going to find out that what forces do we have in the x? We have the applied force, Fa cos 25, like that, minus the force of friction, and this should be equal to 0. That means our applied force Fa cos 25 degrees, this should be equal to what? This should be equal to the force of friction. So our applied force Fa cos 25, this should be equal to what? This should be equal to 35, which is actually our force of friction. So divided by 30 cos 25 here, even this side divided by cos 25 degrees, like this. So this can cancel out. Our force applied is equal to 35 divided by cos 25, like this. So this is actually going to give us the applied force. And if you look at in the first place, we said the applied force is also at a direction. So where is the applied force? It is at this direction. And what is the direction? It is the cos 25 again. From the direction of the cut. The applied force is at this direction of cos 25. So what are we going to do? We're going to say this question, where is it? Here. The applied force is it's at the direction of how much? Is at the direction of cos 25 degrees. So what are we going to say? We're going to say Fa, which is the applied force. Fa, what do I want? Okay, work done by the shopper. Let me do this. Work done by the shopper is equal to what? The force applied. What is the applied force? It is this one. 35 over cos 25, like this, multiplied by the distance, which is 20. What is the direction of this force? Is this cos 25, like this. So cos 25 and cos 25 here can cancel out. And we're going to find the work done by the shopper being equal to what? Being equal to 35 multiplied by 20 again, which is now going to give us a positive 700 joules like this. So that is the applied force. I mean, that is the work done on the cat by the shopper. Question D. Question D is saying find the force the shopper exerts using energy consideration. So D, the force by the shopper. Force by the shopper. So what is the force exerted by the shopper? It is this one, which is here. So the force exerted by the shopper is equal to 35 over cos 25. So there, we'll say the force exerted by the shopper is equal to 35 actually. 35 over cos 25. And this is going to give us how much? It is going to give us a value of 38.6. Now, since this is a force, it is going to be in Newton. So that is the force that is applied by the shopper on the cart. Okay, question E saying we should find the total work done. So what will be the total work done? The total work, you can actually find it using either the summation of all the forces that are being applied on this object, of which what are all the forces that are being applied on this object. We have negative 700, which is the force applied by the force being done by friction, plus 700, which is the force done by the chopper, plus 0, which is the work done by the gravity. So it is work, not force. Sorry. So we have 700 work done by gravity by friction, 700 work done by the chopper, 0 work done by the force of gravity. And if we add this together, we're going to get 0 joules. Or in other cases, since they've said this object is moving at constant speed, that means there is no change in kinetic energy. And even if you wanted to use the work energy theorem, you're going to find out that work done is equal to change in kinetic energy. And the change in kinetic energy, since the velocity is constant, it is going to be equal to what? To be 0 joules. So which means the total work done on this card is equal to 0 joules. All right, guys. So that is the end of tutorial sheet 10 on work, power, and energy. And please, I'm yours, Tutor John. You can subscribe to my channel, like the video, and continue supporting my content. Thank you very much. Until next time.